Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy Slim, aka Mr. Different, and today we're finally gonna be talking about vocals and how to get vocals and stuff like that. I want to really get good vocals. We're talking about get vocals, but yeah, this month I really want to focus on vocal processing, mixing, techniques, effects, stuff of that nature. Cause a lot of you guys been asking me to do a bunch of vocal videos, and I haven't been doing none. So this month I really want to make that one of my prime focuses throughout the month. I've been recording people, I've been recording myself, I've been getting back to the artistry side, the producer side, and the recording side. So I want to take you on my journey and show you guys what I've learned over the years and what I'm learning now as well. So yeah, if you got any requests on what you want to learn, like mixing, effects, anything like that, please leave it in the link below or description below, and I will definitely put it in the queue to start making videos for. So yeah, anyway, I'm sorry I've been taking my little, I had to take my little week-long break. At the end of the month I take a break from videos, so sorry, but I'm back. So today we're going to talk about getting a good vocal sound before you actually put it in the DAW, EQ, compress, all that. Because the one thing you have to remember, if you have a good vocal sound going into your microphone, then essentially you have an easier time mixing and mastering in your DAW of choice or whatever it may be. So it just makes it a whole lot easier. So make sure I got my materials. I'm losing one, but whatever. But anyway, so first off, we're talking about your microphone, like what type of microphone you need. There's three types of microphones that are mostly used by most studios, which would be a dynamic microphone, a condenser microphone, and a rear microphone. You'll see them different ones in our studio, but the most common one is the condenser microphone. This one right here is a AKG P220. Older microphones, they're second generation of this line of the P series of microphones. And it's very inexpensive, about 150 bucks. When it's brand new, it's probably 80 bucks now. But you don't need an expensive microphone to have a great sound. Now, yeah, some microphones have a different EQ curve. It can, accentuate certain sounds better, have a warmer sound or whatever. But essentially, you can get a great microphone sound with any microphone if you do certain techniques. So we'll get to those techniques right now. So first off, we're talking about mic placement in your room and just how you angle it and how you orient it. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't have a great room. We don't have treated rooms. Most of you in bedrooms, most of you in your mama's bathroom, most of you in the closet, most of you in the boiler, both of you in the attic, the basement. I understand that. A shed out back that's falling apart. I understand that. We all don't have access to a nice treated, professionally built studio. We don't. I understand that. This is an extra room in my house, but I gotta work with what I gotta work. It's one of my extra rooms. I say, hey, turn to a studio. Why not? But one thing you have to understand is that a little bit of treatment goes a lot way, and there's a few ways you can treat your room to get a good sound. First off, they say you can put up blankets, you can put up the soundproof, the acoustic foam, you could put up bookshelves, add a bed, add a couch. Adding stuff in your room will break up your room so it's not even on all sides, because you got parallel walls on both sides. When you got a regular room, you got your parallel walls. If you put stuff in that room, you kind of break up the evenness of it, and it kind of deflects and kind of breaks up the sound, because you don't want sound because sound will travel off a wall and come right back to it. But if you got something on the wall that can kind of absorb it or break it up, you can get you get less of that reverb effect from when it hits the wall and come right back. But I still gotta treat both my walls. But like I said, you can just put up blankets, sheets, towels, bookshelf stuff just to kind of break it up, and that will reduce the reverberation effect that's in your studio. So keep that in mind. Also is where you place it in your room. I know a lot of you guys like to record in a closet, which that's going to be in another video. I'm talking about why you shouldn't record in a closet, but what it is. But one thing I would suggest, never have it in a corner. Don't have it in a corner or up against the wall, because that's where you're going to get the most of that reflective sound bouncing off back into your microphone and sounding like shit. So you don't want to do that. Just at all costs, keep it away from a wall, unless you got the wall treated. Then yeah, one thing I would recommend, like, put it somewhere in the middle of your room away from the walls, if you can, and put like a blanket behind it, put your reflection filter if you're gonna afford one of them, do stuff like that if you can, and that will significantly reduce the reverb effect in your studio, and will also give you a cleaner sounding vocal. Because like I said, if reverb is already captured in your microphone, you can't get rid of it. But if you have a dry signal, you can always add reverb to taste and get the exact amount of reverb that you want. And also, you want to have some little bit of reverb because it sounds natural to the human ear if you have just a slight bit of this. But some people will argue with that. you know, and what it is. But my personal experience, a little bit of it does give it just a little bit more of a, you know, organic feel to most people's ears, especially like untrained ears and people who are just average listeners. You know, it just sounds pleasing to them, you know. But you know, as producers and all that, we get all crazy about it. Next is the orientation of your microphone. What that means is how you got your microphone on the stand. I recommend getting a mic stand, and it's raining like hell outside. I don't know if you guys hear that. Rain like hell, but it's just one of the trials of being a producer. You can't control the weather. But yeah, how you orient your mic. So how you got your mic stand? You got it facing upwards, you got it upside down, all that kind of stuff. That will affect the sound of your microphone. You can actually change the sound of your microphone, the tone of your microphone completely just by turning your microphone sideways a little bit or off axis. If you have too much sibilance in your voice, you actually turn your microphone sideways. That will reduce the sibilance, which is a bunch of S sounds like you can reduce that S sound right there by just turning it sideways and having it have your speaker or your rapper or artist speak off axis to the diaphragm, which is, you know, what captures the sound. If you don't know nothing about that, you need to learn the basics, man. Learn these terminologies. Yeah, now you know. But yeah, so you can do stuff like that to actually get different sound. Actually point it higher up, you know, above the mouth gives a different sound. Point it closer to like below the mouth gives a different sound. All these things will give you a different sound. So, you know, experiment with that. That's a great way to EQ your microphone. And that's for the term, I'm gonna use that term a lot throughout this, EQing your microphone, because you can, you know, do that to actually change the sound and the tone of your microphone before you actually record. So you might get a good sound coming in to where you don't have to do hardly any EQing inside DAW. So keep that in mind. Just kind of experiment with how it's turned and all that. Another thing is you always want to have a pop filter. Now I have 2 pop filters. This is just the one I use for my voiceovers. It goes around the microphone. It's not really, you know, professional. Gets the job done. It's very great for when I want to get, like I'm doing like my recording for my my video breakdown, stuff like that. So when I'm playing video games, I don't want a big ass pop filter in my face. But when I'm recording, I use a traditional pop filter. Usually the big circle pop filters cost about 20 bucks, maybe cheaper. You can build one with a clothes hanger and pantyhose if you want to. I mean, hell, I don't care. But just a nylon piece of a nylon circle with a gooseneck on it, which is a controllable neck that clamps to your microphone. That will reduce the plosive sounds, which is P's, B's, and pretty much I think that's the plosive sounds. And it will reduce that, because if you see how it's popping my microphone, you don't want that. You don't want that sound in your microphone, because a lot of times most artists will say them P's and B's like that, and it will ruin your sound. So definitely keep that in mind when you're doing that. Another thing is the level of your microphone, meaning how much gain you got in your microphone. One thing I recommend, if you can, let your artists record, like pre-record. Don't record, but just let them talk and let them practice a song and get as loud as they're gonna get, and adjust your gain or your interface to where when they're at their loudest point, when they're yelling at their loudest or however loud they're gonna get, that it stays in the green levels. That way you will have, you know, the best sound there. Because if it goes into the red, it's distorting, digital distortion. And when it distorts, you can't bring it back. It's gone forever. The information's gone. It's done. Like, it's just distorted. You can always add distortion with plugins. You don't want to capture a distorted signal, because it's that you can crank it down, turn it down low, and it still be distorted. But nowadays I see like a lot of people are do like that XXX dude. A lot of his songs are all straight distorted like hell. But I mean, that's just his style. But I mean, if you're trying to go for a nice, you know, pleasing listening experience, you know, a cleaner vocal, you don't want to distort. So keep that in mind. Let's see, there anything else I can think of? Oh yeah, for all you artists, this one's for the artists out there. For all you artists who like to get crunk and hype and whatever the kids are terms they're using these days, and be doing all that. Cut that shit out. We don't want that. As producers, be professional. You want a good sound. If you want the engineer and the producer to work as little as possible, sit your ass still. Sit your ass still at a nice distance from the microphone and record. Just record. You know what I mean? Get a little hype, you know, like this, you know, a little bit of movement, but too much movement will get picked up from the microphone and can ruin them. I see all these videos of these retarded ass artists nowadays, little kids with tight little pants and shit like that, balls getting squeezed and all that, going all crazy. No, we don't want that. Do good. Oh, one last thing before we go, the proximity effect. What that is basically the closer you get to the microphone, the more bass heavy it gets, so the more of the sound source it picks up. So it picks up more low frequency of your sound, and the farther away you get, the more it picks up the room ambience in your recording. So if you got a bass heavy person, you want to accentuate that, just tell them to get close to the microphone, and it gets a lot bit boomier and a little bit heavier in the low end. But if you don't want to accentuate that, you want to be a little thinned out, but remember, you will pick up more of the room. But if you have a more artist who's very dynamic and really loud, give them to move back. And when they move back, you hear more of the room ambience and noise inside the room. And like I say, it just gives a different sound depending on that. I say just kind of keep it between, like, you know, racing outside. Take your hand like this, 4 fingers, do like this, or 5, you know, and you know that's a good place to start, you know, and that's a good place to record, and that's just ours. Or you can put a pop filter right there and make them record, and then the pop filter will, you know, tell them how far they go from the microphone, because you determine the distance. The distance will determine the sound of your microphone, just like how you turn and all that other stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the basics. Like I said, this is a very basic video. I'm not trying to go in depth about it. Like I said, it's coming on soon, but you know, I want to get the basics out the way and show you that, you know, if you want a good recording, you got to capture a good recording, point blank, period. If you don't catch it, like Pokemon, you want the strongest Pokemon, get your ass out there, go capture it and train that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoy like always. You know who it is. It's your boy Slim, aka Mr. Different. Not motivated by money, but like, subscribe, views. If you got any requests, please leave them in the description below, and I will definitely put them in the queue. I want to know if you want to know about EQ and compressing, reverb, delays, or vocals. Just let me know what you want to know about vocals, how to record it on a MP3, just stuff like that, mixing, whatever. I'll get to it. So hope you guys enjoy like always. Hope you enjoy the video. I'm back, bitches, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.